What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are in England still. If you didn't see the last episode, go back and watch that. Kayla and I flew over here to the middle of England. We flew into Manchester yesterday, and we spent yesterday at Eva Resto at Max's shop, where we are going to be bagging his Volkswagen SP2. We're starting the episode here because Kayla and I have a new loaner car we talked about in the last episode. A four-door red, two-door. It's a GTI. A red Mark III Golf. And if you guys remember back a few years ago, I bought a red Mark III Golf here in England that we drove around one of our trips over. So it's just fitting that we now have a rental red Mark III Golf.
I love it.
So we're heading into the shop now, and we're gonna dive into the SP2. We'll get you up to speed, show you some of the parts that he's already pre-made for the car. But for now, we're gonna run and get coffee. About a 25-minute drive or so. I need to get reacclimated with how to drive on the left side of the road. We did drive the SP2 yesterday in the last episode, so that was pretty fun.
Drive.
Yeah, the car's left-hand drive, but driving on the left-hand side of the street is the hardest part of this whole deal. And indeed, pulling out in the traffic, I think, is the hardest part. Well, this thing is quite nice. Max said this thing has 80,000 miles on it. Every Mark III is the same smell. Also, it's a GTI. Check out the seats. So cool. This is not the first time I've driven in England. You know, we've done this plenty of times before. But I say this all the time, that pulling out into traffic is the hardest part because you have a brain glitch. Once you're in traffic, I feel like we can figure this out. Don't get in an accident. Big trucks. This thing's pretty nice. 80,000 miles on it. You like the seats? Mm-hmm. You know, we're not speaking about how weird it is to drive a right-hand drive car because we've just had too many of them. So this feels natural over here. It's only what's going on outside the car that's kind of mind melding. Apparently Max has hit like 10 deer on this road.
Yeah, it literally said deer casualties on that sign.
Yeah. All right, guys, we made it to Eva Resto. About a 30-minute drive in. No accidents, no head-on collisions. Every roundabout merged correctly. It's such a cool little car. 80,000 miles on this Mark III GTI. But we're back here at the shop. Gonna start moving some stuff around. And the plan is to start diving into the SP2. So the plan will be getting this thing racked up, getting the oval moved, and we'll start pulling suspension out of this thing and show you guys exactly what he's already kind of built. The front ends of these things are so long. Like, I forget like how long these cars actually are.
It should definitely have like a straight six under the bonnet and not just a petrol tank.
I know. It's so crazy. They still wedged a little 4-cylinder air-cooled motor in the back.
A sideways straight six, I think, would fit really nice under there.
We talked about it yesterday, how this thing should have a 300 SL gull-wing slant 6 in it. That'd be unreal. All right, so to catch you guys up to speed, if you missed the last episode, Brazilian market Volkswagen SP2. And him and I talked ad nauseum in the last episode about how cool these things are. Proper dream car. He finally bought one. For air-cooled cars, definitely top 5 for me too. Such a cool car. Built in Brazil, only available for the Brazilian market. Not many made. There's a handful that have been imported to Europe over the years, but we haven't seen one on air suspension. So that's what we're doing. And before we even get this thing off the ground, well, it's off the ground, but before we get this project off the ground, this is going to be a bolt-in kit, a bolt-in system. So
As close as possible.
all you SP2 or Volkswagen enthusiasts, like, we're not ruining the car. This is everything.
Don't come for me. Come
Yeah.
on. Let me live.
Everything Max does here at Eva Resto, go back and watch the last episode. We talk about some of the incredible stuff they're doing here. All this stuff is bolt-in. They make subframes and bolt-in components for air suspension. It's not like the old days where you had to cut and weld to bag the rear of a swing arm or IRS Beetle air-cooled Volkswagen. Now, if you guys are familiar with air-cooled Volkswagens, you'll notice some of like the different components that are on this car. This is a swing arm rear, and it's got like this crazy looking like sway bar setup.
Yeah,
What is
anti-roll bar, Z-bar. This is all kind of Type 3. So the shock towers, the rear frame itself is all very close to like a Type 3. However, on a Type 3, this entire thing is a separate subframe that bolts in. On this car, it's actually part of a chassis.
Huh.
So what we started with for the air kit is basically a Type 3 kit with some adaptations that made our job a little bit easier anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you've built a whole new motor for it.
Yeah, I didn't build the engine. The engine itself, the long block, was basically just a pre-assembled, off-the-shelf unit, like all new crankcase, rods, everything. But all the old tinware and a few older bits off the old knackered engine went back on this new one. Yeah, it's good. It's a good little motor. It's a 1776 with a cam, nice carburetors. You'd think it'd be quick. It's not. Unfortunately, I wanted it to be a lot faster, but I think it's kind of dialed down, like as in it's got quite a low compression ratio.
All right, so we get the SP2 on the rack, wheels off. Our first step is taking the fuel tank out to get the beam out.
Yeah, so there's mounts on the top corners here, basically underneath the tank. So go take the tank out to get to the body mounts.
Yep.
So you can kind of get around it on a Beetle or a Type 3, but on this it's directly underneath where the tank sits, so we have to take that out first. But it's not such a big deal, it's just a couple of connections and then the fuel pipe at the bottom. So.
Not a full tank either.
No, it's very
That's good.
yeah, it's the worst thing we've got to do air ride on a car, and it's got like a full tank
Full
of fuel.
tank of fuel, yeah.
And me and Jesse like deadlifting a tank out of the car.
And we don't have to drain it either, which is
Yeah,
good.
no.
Yeah, so it's just got some clamps.
Yeah, very similar, but same as Beetle ones.
Yep.
The tank's like a really weird shape.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an SP2 specific tank, I guess.
Tank isn't rotted out. If you have to find an SP2 tank,
That would suck.
you have to make
So
something.
there was some things on this car that was fine when it came into the country, and the tank is one of them.
Yeah.
I daren't touch this seal. Like, someone's been there before and sealed it up, and it doesn't leak, so I'm leaving it alone.
Yeah.
That's it. It'll sort of wiggle off. Should have given you this side. I'm sorry.
good. I'm gonna have to work around your
Yeah.
pop right here. Let's set it back down.
Yeah, set it back down. I'm sorry. I've given you like the super awkward side.
It's all good. It's not my first rodeo.
I did not think. No, I think this is like really far over here.
Yeah. All right, fuel tank's out. As you can see, we have access to the top of the beam now, just like a Beetle, basically.
A little bit, but then you've got these chassis mounts here.
Oh, that's different,
So,
isn't
yeah,
it?
it's completely obscured by this fuel tank.
Huh.
So these have got to come out. So normally a Beetle want to be
Right,
on here,
right here, yeah.
but that's completely blank. So I've had to guess. Well, not guess. I made some measurements, but I've had to kind of make an educated guess as to where the new mounts go on the new beam.
I need to make something like that.
That's 3D printed.
Because is that like a Delrin? Like,
Yeah, it's urethane. So it's like thermoplastic urethane. So
I need
it's-
to make something like that for the 1000
and
SP
then like a
because
tab.
right now my steering column just goes straight through a hole in the firewall.
needs to hold, doesn't it? If you've got two links in it, which this has one there, one on the inside, it
Yeah.
needs a support in the middle.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's got a rag joint at the bottom.
Right.
So.
Which mine does because it's
Yeah.
Beetle. Cool. Well, we'll get those zapped out. And stabilizer bar.
Steering gear off next.
Yeah.
So the imitator pitman arm off and the track rod's just in one with this as well. Stick them all just on the side, makes
Yep.
it easier. And then all we've got to do is disconnect the calipers, stick those on the frame head so we're not going to disconnect any
Yeah, we're
brakes.
taking control arms and everything with the.
Yeah, we're taking the beam off in one. One annoying thing I have got to do though is a fuel pump here is on that one of
Oh
our
yeah, it's
mounts.
on like that mount.
Yeah, so that's got to come off so that it can go on the new setup, and rather brilliantly I've threaded all of this through the beam, so that's going to be a pain. all good. Chuck that on the floor. Okay, probably got back the shock tower.
Yep, I got it up top.
Yeah. Oh, f me, dude.
Oh no!
Problem. Speedo cable. Can you pass me, please, my pliers? So I can pop this speedo cable off.
You free?
Yeah, we're free. Alright.
Wow, wee!
There's always something you forget.
Yeah.
It's alright, I'll
So this is the SP2 beam. Any noticeable difference in track width?
None at all. I believe it's exactly the same as a German-made one.
Yep.
Only made in Brazil.
These
Same
are different.
Configuration of the arms. Yeah, so these body mounts would normally be on top here.
That's right.
But it's got these extra ones on the outside.
Yeah, bizarre. But also, bizarre body, so
Yeah.
guess they had to change some of the
I
parts.
think doing this rather than making like a cross member to fit like a Beetle beam is probably a much more straightforward way they did it.
Yeah.
But no, everything else, the discs, the hubs, the bearings, the spindles, all of that is basically just for German design made in Brazil.
All right, so this here is a full custom beam that Max and Jesse built for the SP2 from scratch. They designed everything, right down to the tubing and where everything gets welded. As you can see, they've had SP2 logos laser cut into the gussets here on the side bracing. Powder coated silver, because why not? Is this narrowed from stock?
Yeah, so it's only slightly narrowed. So what we worked out on the car when I had it all apart in the past is that we couldn't really do anything more than a 2-inch narrowed, and even with a 2-inch narrowed, we'd have to do these crazy offset shock towers.
Yeah.
With this super ramped.
To get around the body, right?
With, you also see these top mounts are super ramped and like come down.
Yeah.
The inner wing of a car like starts here and is super curved. On a Beetle, it just
yeah.
goes straight up. You've got loads of room. So these are similar to what we use on a Trekker.
Yep.
You know, like a Volkswagen Finger Type 181 or 182. And this is a 2-inch narrowed beam. With these, I had to modify the drawing and move this further back and further up, hoping it fits. I don't actually know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
This is an experimental beam, not just because it's a custom one-off SP2 bolt-in 2-inch narrowed beam for bags. Well, we really wanted an air-cooled car to have some front camber to kind of help match the rear, not as aggressively as the rear. So what Max has done is thought out this beam to where the lower beam will hopefully kick out farther and give us some camber.
So that's a 10mm extension either side on the lower tube. And it's kind of copied from what we do with the Formula V race cars. If you've ever seen those, like the sort of Volkswagen engine, mid-engine Formula V cars, they use like a Volkswagen chassis. They do beams like these with a slightly wider bottom tube. The side movement in the ball joints doesn't really seem to affect anything. So that could have been it. We could have done that and left it as it was. But what we had to do as well, because of the offset of the shock and how it's going to sit, is we've had to build a custom set of lower arms to then line up the shock correctly and add a bit more strength to it as well. Because what we didn't want to do was hang the shock further off to one side, because it's going to cause some strength issues and whatnot.
Yep.
So along with this weird extra width from the bottom, we've also got a special pair of bottom arms that allow the shock to sit nice and straight, retain sort of full strength and integrity. So there should be no compromises, but I've never done this before. I'm feeling like we're going to maybe have to clock the ball joints slightly differently when we press them in.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's guesswork. We don't know how well this is going to work, but it should give us 3.5 to 4 degrees of camber.
All right, first test fit of the full custom SP2 beam.
I have no idea how well or how badly this is going to work. That'd be nice. Okay, so that's like close-ish. That's in the frame head now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have to pull in, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you get that threaded?
Yeah, it's threaded. See. This has got to be pulled back out again to build it anyway, to put the bushings and stuff
Oh,
in.
you're right, yeah. Well, this is a look at the first test fit. It's tight.
It's really tight.
It's tight, but I mean, you designed it outside of the car.
Yeah.
And this is the first test fit, so it's tight up in here, but it's in. As you can see, he's just tightened up the upper and lower bolts.
It's fully home, but boy, is it tight.
What do you think?
I think it's fun. Watching it come together.
All right, so while we went to get lunch, Jesse assembled the SP2 beam, put bushings in it. We got our grub screws in the ports. We've actually got some body mount bushings there. So now we're getting ready to fit this thing in the car. Now that we know it'll fit, and we'll continue moving. And actually, you'll notice that Max already ran airlines really well too, with all these little guides and holders. threw some grommets into the car. He basically plumbed the car and actually wired it too last week, since for the last 2 months that this whole thing's been planned, he's been champing at the bit to get into this car. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised this thing still has stock suspension in it. It's been that long. He waited till we showed up and we could do this thing together and document the process. This is a Type 1 arm,
yeah,
right?
normal arm. These are forged from factory, so you can actually weld them and cut them. But on this, because we've got the weird offset, and then of course we've got the extra tube at the bottom bringing this outwards, what I've done is, so there's a little spacer here. So I drilled this out and inserted a thread insert, welded around that, and then made this kind of double shear attachment. So this tab that runs down here. That's maybe overkill, but since we're moving this out and we're putting more strain on, I guess, this part of the arm, I thought it'd be nice to add like a kind of double shear section so that the shock is pushing. Because the shock's further inwards, it's not going to cause any stress issues then, I hope. So, yeah. The main reason for spacing this in is because if we did that flat against that and just spaced this out at the top, we were probably going to hit this on the upper arm. We don't want to have to modify these or anything, so these sit here. I mean, obviously I've got to fit this properly, grease it up and everything, and put the rods in. Yeah. But the idea is that this isn't going to catch on that. Right. So hence we move this inwards, because we could have just left that as it was and then just spaced the top out or something, but then we would have had to take some material off of this, and it could have caused a bunch of other issues. So
no, this is a great idea.
Hopefully this is going to work. It's nice to do something a little bit custom, a little bit different, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of the same thing all the time, which is great. But doing something a bit different, a bit custom, especially with this weird like camber modification. Yeah. I'm really excited to see how it's going to work. It's either going to be like, that's great, everybody wants one, or it's going to fail.
All right, so next
we have the through rods, which these ones, normally we use these, well, we're using those all the air ride cars, they have these little rotating ends on them. This one's 2-inch narrowed, normal. Bottom one is 2-inch narrowed plus 10 mil either side.
Yep, because of the step out we're doing on the bottom.
Beam, yeah, the weird beam. So if you look, you can kind of see the bottom one is slightly wider. So this is going to help offset our arms and give us that camber we need.
And also, like I said in the last episode, if you're unfamiliar with the front beam suspension of Volkswagen Beetles, they normally take a stack of metal pieces just like this, which twist. You know, it's like a torsion style suspension, and they take these grub screw ports. This is for a narrowed beam, so these have been cut down and re-drilled. But a grub screw goes through the beam and fits into that. And the grub screw is attached to the control arm. So when the control arm goes up and down with suspension, it twists this. So in the bag beams, we don't need this anymore because the airbag is what's going to determine the height of the car. So rather than a leaf stack, as it were, it's getting these roller bars. And the grub screw will fit in that little channel right there. And so that basically will just roll as the airbag dictates where it needs to go. All right, another Resto component. This here is your like steering offsetter.
Yeah, this is bringing the track rods back a little bit, which has the effect of making the steering input a little bit faster. Yep. But we do it because we've got to move the track rods backwards because the air shocks are so big to give us clearance on those air shocks when we're steering.
It steps them back away from them.
Yeah, exactly, steps them back a little bit.
I've used this on the 1000 SP. And actually, if you guys are new to the channel, it should be known, the entire 1000 SP suspension underneath is all Resto. It's basically their early Beetle swing arm full kit. 2-inch narrowed front beam, the whole bag kit, bag beam, steering assemblies, track rods, tie rod ends, the whole bit. So a lot of these parts are very familiar to me.
So yeah, this one, because it's a weird Type 3 arm, I've got to do a little spacer between it. Oh. Proper spacer, it's definitely not 3 washers. Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And put a chrome socket on an impact gun.
Not going to kill me. I will be fine. I will live for another day.
How dare you?
Oh no. Dropped my washer. Dropped everything, man. This is not going well.
Yeah, so tie rods, air shocks, calipers. We've already got the rotors. As you guys call them discs? You call them discs here?
Discs.
Discs.
Disc brakes, are they not?
Discs. Rotors. brand new parts. We got wheel bearings all brand new. He hasn't packed them with grease yet. We just wanted to test fit everything to see what it was going to look like. It looks unbelievable. Then we'll get the air shocks in, the custom air shocks made in-house here, and then we'll move on to the other side. All right, so basically I didn't film him putting the driver's side control arms in because we were just test fitting some stuff, but I wanted to film because he's actually putting the spindle in now, and these are like a 0 offset spindle. See how flat they are on the front.
So normally drop spindles will add like 1/2 inch or 1/3 of an inch per side.
On track width.
Yeah, on track width, which we can't afford to lose any space on this car because the most we can go, as you can see from all of this, is the 2-inch narrow. So even if we were to use normal spindles, it could really ruin everything for us. So using these nice forged drop ones is going to help us out greatly.
All right, so short track rod is in. He got this powder coated silver, just like the beam and the rear suspension components that we're about to show you. We'll show you the rear suspension components. I like it. I also like how far up the spindle is in this wheel well. Dang, this thing's gonna look so nuts laid out.
It's gonna be great, isn't it?
Also, for anyone who's never been around a lowered SP2, the headlights are literally at like your shins.
Yeah,
It's like down here. It's crazy. Because there's nothing in the front. Look, like it's literally just headlights, bumper, and a little bit of a valance, and that's it.
Track rod being fitted for the first time. For God's sake. Okay. Long day factory.
You may have noticed there's no ball joint in this.
Yep. I just put this on. It's been a long day at the long day factory.
Yeah.
It's a tight fit, but it's a good fit. And yeah, on the top one, we've got to do the whole tap and tighten thing. These spindles are great, but unfortunately, they cost 3 times as much as normal spindles.
Yeah, I figured they were expensive.
So they're good, but they're kind of for like special occasion only.
Like bagging an SP2.
There you go. Yeah. Normal stuff is like, just put the regular spindles on. There's nothing wrong with them. They only add 3/8 of an inch, whatever.
Right. Well, aside from the air shocks, that is a full custom Everesto SP2 front end air suspension kit. That is wild. Just crazy that all this stuff is all made in-house. All right, so you'll see that that is all the way up on the driver's side, left side, and we've got significant clearance from the custom track rod, tie rod, to our notch in the frame. And the long one was the point of contention here because this pivot point is all the way on this side, so it travels quite a bit by the time it gets out here.
So we were concerned, but those fantastic engineers in Brazil knew that 40, 50 years later we were going to slam one. So they gave us the extra room already.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. Why would it need to be this big?
Yeah, ever. Because the car would never, not even like jumping a building.
Yeah, no,
it would,
go that high.
upon landing, would never go that high.
They knew. Those fantastic engineers.
Yeah. So we're good there. We don't have to notch anything. That's incredible.
3-notched. Too good.
All right, fish and chips have been consumed. Max ate entirely too much kebab.
Don't out me like that.
And we're back on the SP2 off camera while I was editing the last episode because obviously I'm multitasking while jet lagged. Max got all the front end components on, the disc conversion, calipers, rotors, wheel bearings packed, greased. Air shocks are in too. Actually, we didn't film that last night before we called it a night. The air shocks are in into the experimental, kind of like beta testing lower control arms with the new brace and mount. So as you can see, that gets bolted between the two. So it's kind of reinforced right at the pivot point of the control arm. So it's really kind of a cool idea to give that shock way more like rigidity and support. He made this really cool fuel pump bracket right here that mounts to the front of the beam. And now we're working on the rear. And I haven't filmed much of that because I've been editing. Instead of dropping the whole rear end out of the car, Max cut the torsion bars out because we don't need those anymore.
I mean, luckily they're sacrificial because these are only regular Type 3 torsion bars.
Yes.
It's a pain because due to how this car's been restored, I can't actually take the torsion bars out.
Yeah.
So I had to cut them. But the spring plates are fine. These are just regular torsion bars, nothing special about them. So we sacrificed those.
So basically, since there's nothing special or SP2 specific about the torsion bars, he can put regular Type 3 torsion bars back in this car if it ever goes back to stock. The car had been restored at one point in Brazil, and the access ports that you can take off to pull the torsion bars out with the rear end still in the car had been basically like removed. It had been basically like bodied over. So rather than dropping the whole rear end, normally you'd open an access port here and you'd pull the torsion bar all the way out because it'll hit your body basically without dropping the rear end. So pulled it out a little bit, cut it off, was able to get it out in a couple pieces. And now what we're doing is, oh yeah, that looks good. I didn't even notice that. So if you see on this side, there's like it's a sway bar setup, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's kind of what they call like a Z bar or something.
Would you say this is SP2 or Type 3 specific?
This is basically the same as a Type 3 one again, and these are identical to Type 3 axles. So much like the torsion bars, I don't mind sacrificing them. It feels really bad and it kind of defeats the point of it being purely bolt-on, but it's just components and not the chassis or the body.
He's basically had to cut this end link support off the axle if we don't want to do other axle tubes without these. Since we're working with a pretty strict time budget, the meet is the day after tomorrow, and we have to get this thing done in time for the meet, and then in time to drive to Bicester Heritage for Roll Hard at the end of next week.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is rather than doing new axles, different axles without these, we're just cutting these off. No harm done.
Normal Type 1 doesn't have these at all anyway. Like this is all like a bolt-on mount. It's only on Type 3s where it's actually physically well done.
Yep.
Because I've got actually a pair of identical Type 3 axles upstairs.
Yep.
Which again I could reinstate if I wanted to put the car back to standard. So.
All right, well, this wonky looking sway bar, stabilizer bar, and end links are out now. That gives us room for the rarest subframe to go in there because that's gonna take up a lot of this space here, because obviously the rear airbags are gonna kind of sit between the spring plate frame horns and axle. So we had to get this thing out. We won't need it anymore. And also, Jesse in the background has been putting together the rear backing plates and brake assemblies. So these are all new. These are the axle seal kits here. The SP2 is a 4x130 PCD bolt pattern from the factory, and we're going to a 5x130 Porsche pattern. I can't wait to show you guys. Max is coming apart at the seams. He wants to. We've already test fit the wheels, and
They're so cool.
it's worth. Yeah, it's
They're
worth.
super cool.
It's worth waiting for sure. We've test fit the front. The camber setup looks like it's going to work. The rear setup's natural camber because that's basically an independent swing arm setup.
You usually hold that out of the way.
Spring plate removal.
The most dangerous job ever, according to the internet.
Yeah, the internet will tell you that this will kill you.
Oh, yeah, this
but
will,
also proceed with caution.
The ramp foot's in the way.
So scary.
Danger.
I'm shaking.
I can't go anywhere, so it's not dangerous.
Right.
Unless you're planning on sticking your head underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Use some sense when you're doing this. So basically what we were just joking about is the fact that this torsion bar is basically twisted in there and it's got pressure on the spring plate. So when you pop this spring plate, sometimes the plate will come off the torsion bar.
Yeah,
I've had
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Sometimes the bar will come with the plate. Sometimes the plate will come off the torsion bar. And yeah, it's under a little bit of pressure. So don't be under it when it snaps out.
But the way the internet words it, it's the most dangerous thing you can do on a vehicle. It's like, do not go, oh, my buddy broke his arm, my buddy broke his leg, all this
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah.
The first time you ever do it, you are like shaking.
Yeah,
But-
I was.
I can imagine people on the driveway, they're like doing it on the floor and they got the legs underneath it like that. And the point, they go dunk.
Yeah.
And they, you know,
Yeah, and that's where those horror stories come from. But if you understand what's happening, you'll be fine. You just saw what happened. All right, we're headed to lunch. Taking Max's 56 oval. This thing is sick. This is the maiden voyage in the oval. Max wanted McDonald's, but I talked him into fish and chips.
Again.
Again.
how is this the third time fish and
I'm in
chips for you?
England. We're gonna get as many fish and chips as possible while I'm here. And I will say though, McDonald's in England is far better than McDonald's in America.
A little bit less chemically.
Yeah, I think you guys are a little more strict about the poison you put in your food than we are.
Have to do hand signals here.
All right, fish and chips for lunch. Check this out. What is that up there?
Yeah, what is that? I don't see that.
We are in England right now, and there's barely a cloud in the sky. Fahrenheit, it's like 75 degrees, barely humid. Fish and chips, we're in a bagged oval window beetle. What a nice day. Are we gonna get run over if we just go for it?
Really good. Absolutely, we're going to light that out of this car and make no laws at all. Nice.
All right, so this here is basically the rear end conversion, or the whole subframe setup that's going to go in the SP2. And this is very similar to the Beetle and Carmen Ghia bolt-in rear bag kits that he makes here at Eva Resto, including the spring plates, which are a drop spring plate. You can see how where it mounts to the axle and where it goes to the torsion tube is a different angle. So this gives it an immediate 3-inch drop, I do believe. And you'll notice there's no splines on the inside there. So that wouldn't go on over a torsion bar. This basically will just free float in the torsion tube, and the airbag will tell the axle where to go. Rear is ready. We've got the sway bar perches cut off, so this is basically like a normal axle now at this point. Sway bar's out, torsion bars are out, spring plates are off. We're basically ready to start mocking parts up.
So yeah, this mount's slightly different than a normal Type 3 one, because this has started off as a normal Type 3 kit. I added these extra bits on at the bottom, which actually bolt through this bit of chassis here. Yeah. So normally this would wrap around this torsion tube, but on this car it's got this extra bracing. Sometimes I'd think I'll just cut it and run it normally. However, with this one, we tried to go through original chassis points, and I made something that would mean I wouldn't have to cut it. So yeah, that bolts up there. Perfect. That'll then bolt through that. Yep. And then we go about connecting all the other stuff that makes the top mount actually strong.
Perfect.
I've got to grab it this side so I can, nice mug, so I can angle back again, mate.
Going around that?
Yeah, there you go. Just the solenoid cable. Oh, come on, don't do this to me.
So these are kind of like the track rods, like stabilizer arms. And we've got one in here. They come down to a clamp system that he makes that actually clamps onto the frame horns here that come back to the cradle. And actually, this is one of his designed rear transmission mount cradles. Is this a 1-inch riser?
No, this is a factory one.
Factory one, but you made this one.
Yeah, we used to only do the raised ones, and we had a couple of people say, actually, I just want a stock one.
Yeah.
Because I like the way they look, so we started doing the stock ones as well.
Yeah, so this is an actual engine cradle, transmission cradle that they designed here, and welded and built it all. And then these clamps clamp onto the frame horns right in front of the cradle, and then those stabilizer bars go up to these ears that come off of the upper bag plates, essentially, but upper like subframe mount, basically.
Yeah, they just work to basically stiffen the top mount assembly.
So upper plates are in, bags are in, stabilizer arms are in. Now we're putting spring plates in, and the lower bag perch. And as you can see, that will articulate. Instead of him picking it up and down, the airbag will do it. And since there's no torsion bar in there anymore, we can move that spring plate up and down. Pretty simple, but yet tons of design work and engineering kind of went into this whole kit. But now that it's all made, we can literally just bolt it all in. And so that lower bag bracket also bolts to your axle flanges.
Called it.
And so what this is here is this is the new shock relocation for the lower mount. And the bottom of the bag bracket mounts to where the stock shock used to go.
Which puts the bag in a really good position for like maximum articulation and as less stress possible on the bag, which leads to lower pressures and more range.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it in a sec.
Yeah, we got it. All right, guys. Well, I think this is where we're going to end this episode off. We have all the factory suspension taken out of the SP2 and all of the new Eva Resto air suspension components in. Front beam, air shocks, the new custom control arms with the offset. It looks like the camber idea is going to work. We have yet to know for sure once we get wheels and tires on the front and rear and just see what it looks like aired out and at ride height. The rear suspension is in. We've got the factory torsion bars out. We've got the new drop spring plates in. The new end caps, all hardware. The top subframe, the airbags, the shocks, all the lower mounts, everything is in. The stabilizer arms in the back there. Off camera, we've been test fitting the wheels a little bit just to see how tight everything's gonna be. It's gonna be a real tight fit, but I think we're able to make it happen. It's been a long day. It's been a long couple of days. It's 11 p.m. Everyone's outside. Kayla and George over there are hanging on. This is where we're gonna leave this one off. Suspension's in, so please stay tuned for the next episode because tomorrow we're gonna put management in. The car's already wired, the car's already plumbed. Airlines are run, all the wiring's done. He's got a really cool management plate setup, like kit that he's built for the trunk. We're gonna install that, we'll hook everything up. We'll get tires mounted on the wheels. So the next episode is gonna be a huge one because we're gonna see this thing off the rack and aired down on some pretty special wheels for the first time. And this might very well be one of the first SP2s ever on air suspension. Could it be the first? They're kind of a rare car. So this might be the first bagged SP2. So stay tuned. It's going to be super exciting. I can't wait. We have a stacked weekend coming. We have a lot to do tomorrow in the next episode on this. And then Sunday, 2 days from now, is our Ludwig's Garage Eva Resto meet right here at the shop. And we have so many people coming out. I think I'm going to try to do an entirely separate episode of the meet because of the amount of cool cars that are coming. I think we're going to have more than enough for a cool episode for some of England's best air-cooled and water-cooled cars coming out. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. We're having a blast here in England. I know the first few days here have been nothing but work, but we're slightly jet-lagged, but we're having a good time. Once more, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode.